عليه وصحبه وسلم تسليما. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So inshallah, alhamdulillah, thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are able to gather again to come together in the blessed remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all the matters which relate to Allah Azza wa Jal. So remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes people find hard that how can I remember Allah, because we cannot see Allah Azza wa Jal, we cannot imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever you imagine, that is not Allah. So whatever you see in your mind, in your imagination, that is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your mind, my mind, it can never ever comprehend Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever you see is not Him. But there are many things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described in very much detail, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has described that we can imagine. And these things, a person, by remembering them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala classes them as remembering Him Himself, because they are directly connected and related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such as the Akhirah, Jannah, the paradise, Jahannam, hellfire, the Day of Judgment, even the reality of this world. And a very important one which applies today, because today we were at a janaza, many of us were there, you were there, a funeral, death as well. So a person who remembers death is classed as though they are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. So today I just want to share a short message with you from a very pious, righteous a lady from the past, alhamdulillah, on her deathbed. So a message which she gave for her children, and she was a pious lady, mashallah, and her death ended in a good way. So how do you know whose death ended in a good way? How do we know? One of the signs that a person's death is in a good way is that on their deathbed they are remembering Allah, they are mentioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are doing zikr of Allah, and they are giving nasiha and guidance. Can you imagine? They are giving guidance to other people, and they are leaving this world to go to the Akhirah to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're still doing dawah. So people like that, that's a sign of a good end. So what is the bad end, the sign of the bad end? We don't know, none of us know truly, have they had a good end, bad end? We don't know, because we cannot see the Akhirah, what's happening, we can't see it. But there are signs. So what are the signs that this person's end was a bad end? That's also important to know, so we hopefully can try and avoid that. Well, the sign of a bad end, one of them is that this person only talks of dunya. On their deathbed they're talking about inheritance. Make sure that this goes to this person, this goes to this person, and that's all they talk about. It's important to discuss it, but it doesn't need to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week discussion. A few 5 minutes, 10 minutes is nothing difficult about inheritance. So, but they are constantly talking of the world, and they are leaving the world. They are talking about what's going to happen to the business, what's going to happen to this person, that person. All the matters which they're leaving, they're talking about. And in some very bad cases, the worst type of cases, the sign of a bad end, is the person speaks against Allah and against the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Now this is something very important to know, and I want all of you to hear this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He reveals the inner person, me and you, He reveals this towards the end of a person's life. So in the core of your heart, if you are a believer, if you are a pious person, a believer, a good Muslim, good believer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals that. at the time of death, it doesn't become hidden, it becomes open. And that's why they have the good signs. They talk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they talk good things, they give nasiha and guidance, they leave good things for their children, good guidance, good nasiha, and they don't talk of dunya all day long. But the person who has hypocrisy in their hearts, hypocrisy is where they say one thing but they do something else. They say one thing to people, but to someone else they might say something different. This is like double standards. But hypocrisy, they say one thing to you, and then to the other person they say, oh, I didn't really mean that. I just say that to please them, to make them happy. And they do something different themselves, something opposite. So hypocrisy in the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, there were many hypocrites. They were hidden. Hypocrisy is a hidden matter. It's not open. It's a hidden thing. You can, the companions, they were told, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said to the companions, this is the meaning of it, that they said to Hazrat Umar radiallahu anh, if you were to see them and their worship, you would be surprised. Why did he mention if you were to see them? He ﷺ mentioned like this, because the Prophet ﷺ didn't reveal the names of the hypocrites to everyone. He revealed them to very few people. One specific Sahaba radiallahu anhu had all the names, the list. But to Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu and to many others it wasn't mentioned. But it was said to them, and this is because the Prophet ﷺ wanted to hide the faults of others. He hid their faults, he didn't reveal them. Reveal to one person for a specific purpose. That's like a mashwara you have with someone. In the mashwara, in the consultation, when you're having a meeting to decide what's the best for the ummah, the next step in a business and so on, you can talk about this person's good qualities and their bad qualities. In certain situations it's fine, but in the general situation, if there's no purpose, no need for it, then no, you don't reveal the faults of people. So that's why he didn't reveal the faults, these hypocrisy faults, to many others, only to one person, and there was a reason for that. Coming back to the point of hypocrisy, nifaq, it's revealed at the time of death, and sometimes even before the death, much before the death. So me and you should worry that if I have hypocrisy, if we have it, it might not show today, but in the future, and the worst time is the time of death, it will come. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal who the person really is. At that time, the person may be wearing sunnah, Islamic clothing and so on, but they'll be talking of this dunya, this business, this person. They might even be sinning on their deathbed. Imagine, disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on their deathbed. So this is something to worry about, that Allah will deal with you at the time of death, how you are in the core of your heart. If you are a true believer, He will deal with you as a true believer. And if you are a hypocrite, that will be revealed as well. And then only the people, they see the signs or they don't see the signs, that's for the people. If they recognize the signs, they'll know. If they don't recognize the signs, they won't know. Sometimes the children and the others are so delved much in their own world, they don't realize what signs their own family are showing. This is the reason why the etiquette at the time of death of a person is, you don't tell them, say La ilaha illallah. You don't command them. We only say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ourselves. We just say it, hoping that they might copy. If they say it, then you stay quiet, because we want that to be the last words that they leave with. But why do we not tell them, say it? Why? Can anyone tell me? Yes, brother.
Because there's no compulsion in religion, you shouldn't force them.
That's true, but that's not the reason here. Yes, there's no compulsion in religion, but this wouldn't be a force. You're not forcing anyone. And in religion, there is no force. There should never be force upon anything. But here, it would be as though you're telling them, mom, dad, brother, sister, please recite this, like that. But even that you should not say. So what's the reason? Why do we not tell them? At the time of death, what reaction do you think they may have? What do you think? They might just suddenly say, oh, don't tell me to do this, or don't tell me to say that. So they might have a negative reaction to what you're telling them. You're saying, say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, But their inner self now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reveal who they really are. And if they have this type of reaction, because they manifested it, then the nifaq has manifested outwardly. So now people can also see, but the nifaq is open. It's not just hidden. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, and a person can be punished for the evil qualities residing in you because it's in you. Others may not be able to see it, but by it being in you and me, that is enough of a sin. For example, jealousy. If I'm jealous of a person, no one sees it. Nobody sees me being jealous. Only I feel it, I see it inside me. But by me allowing it to be in me, I'm continuously being sinful. Because the one who is jealous is saying to Allah, "Oh Allah, you shouldn't have given it to him or her, you should have given it to me." Can you imagine? The jealous person, what is jealousy? Jealousy is where I want what the other person has. I want what they have, but I don't want them to have it. So effectively I'm saying, "Oh Allah, you shouldn't have given it to him, you should have given it to me." Na'uzubillah. This is jealousy. So the person who is jealous is saying, is accusing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of doing something wrong. Every evil quality says one of these evil statements. Each one of them says something different. They all accuse Allah Azza wa Jal of doing something wrong. This is why these evil qualities are very, very, very evil, are very bad. You are accusing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of making a mistake, na'uzubillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from all mistake, can never make any mistake. And this person with jealousy, arrogance, arrogant person is saying to Allah, "Oh Allah, I deserve this blessing. You've given, not this person, I'm better." And it's as though you're teaching Allah. So the person who's arrogant is saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, "Oh Allah, let me teach you something." How evil is this? Can you imagine? And the humble person, the opposite, is saying, "Oh Allah, I don't know anything, you're my teacher, I don't know anything." So to die with evil diseases is more worrying than dying because of cancer. Cancer kills the person, but dying with an evil disease is more worrying than dying because of cancer. Because why? This evil disease doesn't leave you at the time of death. It doesn't leave you. When cancer comes and you die, your body, the cancer stays with your body, your spirit moves on. But with the evil disease like jealousy, arrogance, pride, your spirit still receives the harms of those evil qualities. So that's something to worry about. So this message that is mentioned, this Buzurg or wonderful, mashallah, pious lady, she gave this guidance on her deathbed to family and other people. And this is something we should think, that when I'm on my deathbed, what advice would I like to give to my family and friends? What advice would my parents like to give me? And what if maybe you never got the chance to see your parents on their deathbed? Maybe they're in a different country. Maybe you never got the message. Well, this message is the type of, imagine this is your mother and father saying this to you. So they mentioned that firstly, she was very, very happy. So alhamdulillah, on the deathbed, she's very happy. Now this is, I mentioned this a few weeks ago, that death is a what? It's a gift. So when you see people in janazah, many of them are upset, crying, sad, and they think it's wrong to smile. They think it's wrong to smile, but yet if death is a gift, and it's a gift for the person dying, and it's a gift for us too, because we're released from this world, then it's a wonderful time, especially if the person died in a good state. They were pious, righteous. So then it's a good time. They're released from the prison. So she was very happy, and she was full of joy, even though she's leaving. She was smiling, and she said to one of her children that, "Do not think about me after I've left." Now imagine, this is a mother saying to the children. Normally you would think, the normal teaching is, you should remember your parents, you should never forget your parents. But this is a motherly love saying to the child that, don't think about me, live your life, you've spent enough time for me, you've done my khidmat, you've served me, you've helped me, You've done everything for me for a long time. Now live your life. It doesn't mean forget me completely. All that she is saying is live your life, do the work of deen, do things for you and for your family, for your children, and you can be free from the difficulty of having me, of serving me. You can be free from this, and your reward is with Allah. Allah will reward you. I can't give you anything. You served me for such a long time. I can't give you anything. I couldn't give you anything. You were serving me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you, and that reward is there for you now. So just have patience. So she said, do not think about me. And she's saying this out of love, that now forget me in a good way. Move on with your life. Your reward is sealed. But remember, even this is a wonderful, wonderful thing that you can do. Many people think, oh, I have elderly parents. What a burden. Your parents took care of you as a child. Mother, 9 months she carried you in her stomach and in her belly. And she gave birth with such difficulty, giving birth. Some labor can go on for 24 hours, 36 hours, maybe longer. Some mothers have cesareans, they cut the stomach up. It's a major operation. 3 months it takes to heal as a minimum. 3 months. And then breastfeeding and feeding and changing clothes and nappies and all these things. And then the father and the mother are feeding you and earning to clothe you, and your clothes keep changing size and size and size again and again and again, and they have to get rid of the older ones and give you new ones. And you never thought, what did my parents go through to serve me, to take care of me? But many of us can't take care of our parents when they become old age. Those of us who have the opportunity to take care of parents in elderly age, you are blessed. You have such a great blessing, but you just haven't realized it. Because once those parents have gone, that blessing that you have, that chance that you have, it will never come back again. Because you only have 2 parents. There's nobody else. So realize that taking care of one's parents and elderly, older brothers and sisters are also like parents. They have similar status, and uncles and aunties. Taking care of them in their old age is better than doing khalwat, seclusion, 24 hours worship for an entire year. So if you asked me which would I choose, serve the elderly parents or do khalwat and seclusion for a whole year, and where I have no worries, no dunya concerns, just you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which most would always choose the parents, serve them, be of khidmat to them. Because the closeness, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in there cannot be achieved in khalwat. So this person has to realize. So then it was mentioned to them that pray for me, but I am very happy. So do you see, she's also mentioned that make dua for me, that remember me, but you don't have to spend every single day of your life for me, like you have taken care of me. Then she mentioned that her daughter-in-laws, her daughters, her other family, they've also made a huge sacrifice. They've made big sacrifices as well. So for this elderly buzurg, she appreciates what her family have done for her. So do you see, in there we have a lesson that if you cannot thank the creation, you have not thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if they do the smallest thing for you, give you a glass of water, give you a cup of tea, open a door for you, thank them like it's the first time they've done it. There's no difficulty saying Jazakallah, thank you very much. No harm, no difficulty. What's the issue? Say it and let it become an easy thing to say. The husband and wife, the parents, they deserve more thanking than the waiters and the waitresses, the strangers. They're strangers, but we thank them very much. Our own relatives we don't thank, we think it's a duty on them. It's not duty. So, and if you thank your children when they do something for you, then your children will thank you when you do something for them. If you have to thank them first, understand this principle: respect is taught, it is not demanded. Respect is taught, it is not demanded. If you want to teach children respect, you have to respect them. You have to show them respect them, they will give that back to you. If you teach them by demanding, what will they do? Demand from you. So those parents who complain their children are teenagers, or it's that teenage age, or they're always demanding something. No. I know children who are teenage age, many of them, and they have very good manners and adab because their parents don't demand from them, they respect them. So what do the children do? They respect the parents, they don't demand. And those teenagers who are demanding this, it was because the parents taught them to demand. So, as a side point, but if you have children, mashallah, you practice that, you'll see a heaven and earth difference in the upbringing. Then they mentioned that give my salam to the extended family, the ones who didn't come to see me, give my salam to them and remind them of the good memories that we had. So do you see, it's important, it's Islamic principle that when someone passes away, one shouldn't mention the bad things of them in their life. One should talk about the good memories of that person. Have good memories. Why? Because when you think good things of them, you're more likely to make dua for them, seek forgiveness for them, and if they did anything to you, you'll also forgive them. But if you mention the bad memories you had with the person, and you remind other people, they will also remember their bad relationship with the person, their ill feelings towards the person, and they may not forgive. And they may decide, I don't want to forgive that person because of you, because of the bad memory you reminded me of, I don't want to forgive that person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing this, that this servant would have forgiven this deceased person, but you reminded them of bad times. And because of that reminder, they don't want to forgive. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes displeased with that person who mentions the bad memories. If you remember this principle, only say good things about people who are living and who have passed. Only say good things, otherwise stay silent. Don't say anything bad, just say the good. If you can practice that, then these issues will never arise in you. But if you enjoy saying bad things about people, then there is something wrong in you. There is a disease in you if you enjoy speaking bad of people. So then it was asked to her, because she was a pious lady, and she was giving nasiha and good advice, she was doing zikr, that how have you had a good end? What have you done? What have you done to leave in a good way on your deathbed, so that we can benefit? So she mentioned that I loved and I love the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I loved them and I still love them. And I wanted to spend time in them, in their company, in their remembrance, in their presence, and I benefited from them. So she mentioned that she loves the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I never complained of the misfortunes that befell me. So imagine when a person's on their deathbed and they're going through lots of difficulty, there's a reason for this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned in different narrations that if a person has sins upon their shoulders, they have sins, major, minor, whichever, all the hardship that they're going through washes away the sins, washes away constantly. They're not even seeking forgiveness from Allah, but Allah is forgiving gradually all of the sins are forgiven. And when they die is the point at which there is no sins left. That's when they leave. So this is really a blessing in disguise, to leave the world when there is no sins on you. That's at that point, none of us want that? Do you not want that? To leave this world with no sins upon your shoulders? Of course. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing this person a favor, extending their life up until all the sins are gone, and then taking them with a clean slate. So it's a blessing in disguise. So she never complained of the misfortunes, but rather they were Allah's will and I was happy with Him at all times. So this is mentioned very often to people. I mentioned it to someone today whilst driving. We were driving and there's a big bus in front of us, big bus, and mentioned that even during this situation, you can become close to Allah. With a bus in front of you, how? How? A bus is in front of you, you're complaining, thinking, too much traffic, bus go, beep it. No. You can beep the bus to remind the bus to go, but the mentality should be that if I am meant to be late, or if this is meant to happen, I'm doing everything in my ability to get there, then alhamdulillah, Allah is saving me from something. Maybe Allah is saving me from an accident. Maybe Allah is saving me from another misfortune. So even when you're driving, where you can be thinking positive, or every traffic light I go to is red light. Maybe there's a reason. If it was green light, another car could have crashed into you. You don't know what misfortune Allah has prevented. How often have we thanked Allah for this? The misfortunes He's stopped from coming to us. You don't even know what they are. How can you thank Him? But we need to thank Allah for the misfortunes He's prevented. We only ask Allah, oh Allah, take this problem away. But the problems He's given us are good for us. And the misfortunes He's taken away, they were bad for us, so that's why He took them away. So this is a matter of faith, and it can be applied in every aspect of life, 24 hours a day. And it will take you closer to Allah. So do you see, this is the difference between a wali of Allah, a friend of Allah, and the normal people. They see how to become close to Allah in every second of every day. That's what they're looking for. They don't look how, in this book, how can I be close to Allah? In this majlis or anything, they learn that, but they practice it out there. That's the world to practice. This is the place to learn. There's the world to practice. So even before my death, even before this illness and so on, I was enjoying. I was enjoying the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was happy in the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so imagine the person is saying that in my difficult period of illness, there's a part of me that is enjoying very much. This sounds like it contradicts, but it doesn't. The nafs might not be enjoying the pain, but the spirit is enjoying sweetness. So people sometimes think that it's not possible to have pain and pleasure at the same time, but it is when it's two different beings inside you. All of you have a nafs inside you, an evil ego. That ego inside you, sometimes that has to suffer, that has to go through a bit of pain, but your spirit is very happy. Have you heard the saying that you have two wolves inside you? Wolves. And they ask which wolf is going to be the stronger one. And the answer is whichever one you feed more. So if you feed the first wolf, that becomes stronger. If you feed the other wolf, that becomes stronger. So you both have two wolves inside you. You have your spirit and you have the nafs. You choose who you feed, which one you grow, and the other one becomes weaker. And the one becoming weaker is struggling. It's going to struggle. So she was mentioning that the difficulty I'm going through is difficult. My nafs is finding it hard, but my spirit is very happy and enjoying. Even before I've left this world, I'm still enjoying. But people cannot see it. They can't see it. They see my tears, but the tears are of the body, but my heart is somewhere else. O people, so she mentioned, all you people, take a lesson from my life. Life is much shorter than you think. It is. However long you live, so she gives this guidance here, that however long you think you're going to live, not how long you will live, how long you think you're going to live. So I'm going to give all of you 10 seconds. I want you to have in your mind, how long do you think you're going to live? However old you are, however many years are ahead of you, that you think in your mind you're going to live. Just 10 seconds. How long do you think you're going to live? Have a number in mind. No one knows when they're going to die, but everyone has an idea or a intention or a thought that I'll live till I'm 60, till I'm 70, till I'm 80. They have this plan and intention. Okay, everyone has a number. So she mentioned half it. So if you think you're going to live another 30 years, half that number, 15. Now she says half it again. That number there, in this case 7.5, you should think as though I'm only going to live this many years. The real truth is that you might not live tomorrow, but many people find it very, very hard to plan, to live life as though they're going to die tomorrow. Many people find that hard. At least live and think as though I'm only going to live another 7 years. If I'm going to live another 7 years, how will I change my life? What will I do differently? Because many of us, we live this world as though we're going to live forever. We don't even have in mind, I'm going to die at 60, 70, 80. The worst thing is, we think we're going to live here forever. And that is the most wrong and opposite thought. So she says, life is much shorter than you think it is. However long you will live, you think you will live, half that and half it again. Then prepare for it the way that I prepared for it. I was pleased with Allah with whatever decision He made for me under every situation, and I loved the friends of Allah and I spent time with them. I knew I was leaving. So this pious, righteous lady, she was on her deathbed. She knew she was leaving this world, and this was the biggest blessing, as I had much time to prepare. But you may not be as fortunate. So she warns that she was very fortunate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her this blessing that she knows she is dying. She's on her deathbed. She knows death is coming very, very soon. And she's not that old. This Buzurg, she was in the region of 40. So she knew she was dying. But many of us, as it was mentioned yesterday, someone passed away in an accident, I think in Pakistan somewhere. Someone died in an accident. The car fell off a cliff, and there's no rails around the mountain, and the car just fell off, and the sister passed away in a car accident. So imagine, what preparation did she have? How many days and months and weeks did she know that she's going to die next week, next month? She had no idea. No idea. So if you are on your deathbed, that's a wonderful blessing for a person. But suddenly dying doesn't mean that's not a blessing, but you don't have the preparation unless you practice what is being said today. And the final message that was asked to her, what would you like to say to your family that's here? And she said, my family, keep your family ties. Keep family ties. Be good to one another and treat them as you would like to be treated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who keep family ties. Even if they are the one breaking it, you should be the one to mend it. They are breaking it, but you mend it. Don't be the one who says, they don't want me, I don't want them either. They're going, let them go. No, that's not perfection of character. This is one of the definitions of good character. Good character is not that you are good to those who are bad to you or good to you. Good character is not that you are good to those who are good to you. Good character is that you are good to those who are bad to you. That's good character. So those people in your life who are bad to you, they are blessings. Why? Because they are the ones who show you your true good character. If you don't have them in your life, how will you ever know you have good character or not? If everyone is good with you, then you don't know if you have good character or even bad character. But the ones who are bad with you, they give you the insight of your character. Is it really good or is it bad? So thank them next time when they're bad to you. Like Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, people threw stones and all sorts at him and he gave them flowers. Why? Because he was thinking, you are blessings for me, you are enabling me to see my inner self, I want to give you a gift. So he gave them smiles and dua, and he gave them flowers. So then it was mentioned that But do not forget that where you are headed, love the awliya Allah, the friends of Allah, and stick to them. And now that you can forget about me, travel the world for da'wah. Go and give the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've done your duty to me, you've taken care of me. Now give the ummah, the rest of the ummah, that you didn't go to them before. You didn't go and travel to the world to give them a message because you were taking care of me. Now is your time to go and give that message. So this was a wonderful message from a pious lady, alhamdulillah, in the past. And she shared this message, and this is a message that we can all benefit from as well. So especially I wanted to share it because there was 4 or 5 people that have passed away recently, and there was a janazah today in local area. And if we don't ponder upon these things, then there's no benefit. If you just carry on, oh, I just went to a janazah, it was a janazah, and then you just carry on and your life doesn't change, there's no difference, then really you haven't been to the janazah. You haven't. The one who hasn't even physically been to the janazah, but they're thinking about it, pondering upon their own death, how their life of hereafter will be, they have been to the janazah. So as the Prophet ﷺ would say sometimes, that when he was on an expedition, a journey to somewhere, they would say, there are those who are with us, but they are in Medina. And there are those who are in Medina, but they are with us. So think, you can be with the Holy Prophet ﷺ because you want to be with him. You can be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you want to be with Allah azza wa jal. But the person who is with the Prophet ﷺ in his lifetime, he ﷺ is saying, you're not with me, you're in Medina. Sharif. Imagine. So this is the message I just wanted to share, just a nasiha and guidance reminder. So if anyone would like to ask any questions related to this topic, then they can. Otherwise, inshallah, we finish and do zikr of Allah and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send the reward and the goodness, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows upon us, that we ask Allah azza wa jal to send that to these pious and righteous people, these Muslims that have passed away. And Allah knows best what is their state, but we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them a Jannah and to give them a wonderful place in the grave world, in Barzakh, until the Day of Judgment, to give them a wonderful Day of Judgment, a day to look forward to, a day to receive the certificate in our right hand, the certificate of paradise, and an immediate entrance into Jannah, even without questioning. So yes, if anyone would like to ask any questions. Yes.
Just regarding death, something like that. So my mom passed away last year, so it just makes me wonder. It might be beyond the remit of what we're talking about. Do they have any contact with this world any longer when they're in Barzakh? Or can they see us? Can they see what we're doing? Can they interact? Or
So, mashallah, good question. There are very different levels, and the person. So the few different levels. The one who is being the non-Muslims. Firstly, they don't have a person who's died without iman, without faith. They don't have any ability to come back in this world, to see people, to see the people roaming around. They don't have that at all. So they're in a state of punishment until the Day of Judgment, and so that is what they're experiencing. The second is the pious and righteous people. So the very pious and righteous people, they are in Barzakh, in the wonderful places, roaming around and seeing wonderful and enjoying in a wonderful way. But Allah hasn't given them permission to come in this dunya. So there's a category that they are enjoying, good pious Muslims, they're enjoying, but they don't have any ability to come to this world to speak to anyone, to give any message, anything like that. Then there's a category of Muslims who are also being punished, and they are, but they are going through punishment, sadly, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive them. but they don't have any ability either. So far none of these three have any ability to come to this world, the dunya, and speak to anyone here. So they're being punished like non-Muslims, but their punishment is different. A non-Muslim may be forever and ever and ever, or is, when the Muslims, one may end. And then there is a very high category of awliyaullah, friends of Allah. Even then it's not all the awliyaullah, it's only certain ones. They have, there's another category before I mention them. There's a category of pious people that go to sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts them in a sleep until the Day of Judgment. And it's mentioned in the hadith that, to the nice meaning that now sleep like the bride sleeps on her wedding night. Now think about this, it's mentioned that the bride on her wedding night sometimes can't sleep. She can't sleep, but she goes into a light sleep. So why can't she sleep? Because it's an exciting time, lots of excitement. So similarly, this person who's a pious person is being told sleep like the bride sleeps on the wedding night. They're told enjoy the excitement of the Day of Judgment, because when the Day of Judgment comes for you, you will be taken to paradise. So that's why they can't sleep, but they go into a light sleep and the time just passes. So they're not enjoying in the grave, they're in a light sleep. So that's the fourth category. Then there's the category, very high ranking awliyaullah, very, very few, not many at all, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them ability to come back to this world, not physically, but spiritually. They can give message, they can communicate, they can enter a dream of a person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them that power. They can enter a dream of a person and they can give message. So that's that category. They have that ability. Then there is another matter. There is a jinnat that is assigned to every human being, every single one of us, by shaitan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't appoint this shaitan to us. Shaitan, the jinnat creation, there are 10 times them more than the human beings, 10 times. So there's enough of the shaitanic army for every human being to have one jinn with him. And these are the shayateen jinn. The other thing to know about them, before I talk of them in an evil way, is that shaitan, Iblis himself, he enslaves many of them. He enslaves them against their will. So they're not doing the evil that they do because they want to do it. Many of them do it because they're forced to do it. So what shaitan does is he steals or kidnaps their wife, their children and their family, and he says, if you don't do what I say, I will kill them. So many of them are forced against their will. This is why we pray for the ummah amongst human and jinn. So many times we make the mistake of praying only for human beings, whereas the jinnat creation, sometimes they're suffering even more than human beings, more. And we need to think of them, pray for them as well, because shaitan has this power over them. Physically he's doing these things. So it's not all of them, and this is why only one jinn is cursed, only one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has only cursed one. The rest of them are not cursed. Who is it that's cursed? Iblis. He's the only one that is cursed. Cursed means he's so far away from the mercy of Allah, he can never be forgiven. But the door of forgiveness is open for him, but because of his arrogance, he'll never come this way. He'll never repent. But all the other jinnat and the shayateen, they can become pious, righteous, they can be Muslim, they can seek forgiveness. So this is why if those shayateen ever come to you in a dream or anything, what you should do is give them dawah. Mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, just like you would to non-Muslim. Mention Allah, give them dawah, and tell them even if shaitan does anything to your family, they will be shaheed martyrs. And in the hereafter, shaitan cannot touch them. So the point was that one of these jinn are assigned for every person. So when this person dies, this jinn doesn't necessarily die. The jinn is still there. He's still living. And this jinn knows everything about you because he was with you or she was with you every day and every night. And they were with you, so they know everything about you. And this is the reason why those people who speak to jinn and shayateen obviously in an evil way. We are not meant to interact with the Jinnat world, and the Jinnat world is not meant to interact with us. But there are black magic people, there are fortune tellers, sorcerers, they interact with them purposely. They speak to these Jinnat. After the person's died, they speak to this jinn. So can you imagine a person's mum and dad has died, and then they go to these fortune tellers. The fortune teller is speaking to that jinn that was with their mum and dad, and they ask them questions that only the mother and father could have known, and they're answering them, and these people are thinking, oh, the spirit of my mother and father is in you, and I'm speaking to my mum and dad. It's a big deception in the world. You must have heard about these things. We are not allowed to go to them. Going to sorcerers and fortune tellers is completely forbidden. You should never even go to them. So these there are many people doing that. So that jinn knows everything about you, and so now you should be aware that that is not a person. So the reason I'm mentioning this related to this is you might think the spirit of that person has come into here, but no, that's a deception. This is the jinn that was with that person that is speaking. Does this make sense? It's the spirit of the person is wherever they are. Allah knows best. They're in the sleep state. They may be punished. They may be in that very high level. Allah knows best. That's the second point. So now you know there's 5 categories. Then you know that there's the jinn. And then the third thing is that every time you go to the grave of a person, every time you go to the grave, when you're standing physically at the grave, then whether they're a Muslim, non-Muslim, whoever it is, it's mentioned that they know that someone has come. That point, when you're there physically, they can hear you and they can see you, but they can't come out of the grave. So they can't come out of the grave, but when you go to the graveyard, they can see you, they can hear you, and they know someone has come. So this is, and the fourth thing to add to this, the fourth thing is that as a punishment to some people and as a reward to some people, so as a punishment or as a reward depending on the person in the grave, you can be shown what your family are doing after you. So let's say the person is pious and righteous. He wants to know what his family are doing, how they are, and things like this. He can't leave, or she can't leave the grave, but the angels can show them through like a TV. Like you have a phone here, you can watch the other side of the world on here. You can go on Google Earth and look at the map of America or Bangladesh. You can see all of it through here. I don't have to go to Bangladesh to see. So similarly, the angels can show a screen of the family, what they are doing for the person. He may request it, she may request it. But similarly, for the evildoer, they can be shown what their family are doing as a punishment for them. That your family has forgotten you. You're here, look at your property. They've taken it, they've sold it. Look at your children, they forgot you. So as a punishment, they can also be shown, but they can't leave. And this idea that the spirit leaves after the janazah, the spirit roams around for 40 days and is watching us, this is a misconception, and this has no Islamic foundation. It's more something which has come from Hindu traditions, that the spirit is following us for 40 days after someone dies, and so on. So, mashallah, please don't confuse superstitions of other religions, or some of these are our ancestors, and mix them with deen, because that would be harmful for oneself and for the ummah as well. So yes, brother? But, yeah, yes.
Other day someone asked me, if someone dies and you're most likely going to help, you're going to be punishing your help.
Yeah.
So is it possible for the children or anybody from this world to save them from hell after they die?
After who dies?
Maybe the parents, maybe the parents. If the parents die, so the children can save them after the parents die, can save them from the hell?
So mashallah, the first thing to know is when anyone dies in this whole, from Hazrat Adam al-Islam to the Day of Judgment, or to the doomsday when everything is destroyed, when any person dies, they don't go to hell immediately. They go into the world of barzakh. Barzakh means veil. Veil is the grave world. and they go there. So in Jannah and Jahannam now, there is nobody from the children of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, nobody there. There's hurs there, there are angels there are creations there for serving, they're ready and prepared. There's no children from the children of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam there. People will enter Jannah and Jahannam only after the Day of Judgment. And in the hadith and in the Quranic ayat, which you will see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are mentioning different punishments that are happening as though they are happening right in front of them, that is a future that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for Allah, the future, the past and the present is one. Time is not, Allah is not subject to time, He's free from it. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions something as though it's happening now, that's because for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the time doesn't pass. Allah is free from it. But for me and you, it's a future matter. For the Prophet ﷺ was able to see Jannah and Jahannam, especially on the night of Miraj. So he was shown the future. It wasn't the present time. And even then in the Akhirah, that's free from time as well. So that's the first thing to know. I don't want anyone being confused that after death people are entering Jahannam. It's not after death, it's after Day of Judgment. So we have death, then we have the grave world until the Day of Judgment, and those 5 different things I mentioned, Brother Rafiel, they all happen in the grave world. Then comes the Day of Judgment, everyone's resurrected, the questioning happens, then is Jannah and Jahannam. That's matter of Aqidah, it's very important to have that clear. So, and the answer to your question is yes, definitely. It's possible for the children and others to intercede. Now, to intercede for their parents, and not even just their parents, but for any pious. The condition is that the person dies with Iman. If they do not die with faith and Iman, even the prophets and messengers don't have permission to intercede for them. It's in Ayatul Kursi. We read it very often in Ayatul Kursi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, who can intercede with him without his permission? The intercession of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of all the other Prophets sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of the friends of Allah, and of the person who memorizes the Quran, and of the person of knowledge, and of the scholars, and of the parents, and of the children who pass away young. The intercession that all these people will do is a reflection of Allah's mercy. It's really Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's having mercy on the person. So the first condition is they die with Iman. Then the next condition is that if you want to intercede for someone, if you want to be someone that can intercede for someone else, first become a person of paradise. But how do you become a person of paradise? How do you become a person of paradise? You're living here, paradise, we've not died yet, we're not entered there. Every single one of us will enter Jannah or Jahannam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will decide that based upon how we lived this life. So Allah is deciding upon your life in this world. So you have to live a life in this dunya, a life of paradise, then you can possibly intercede for someone. But if you're living the life of Jahannam, if you're living the life of the tyrants and these evil people and whatever they do, if you're living this life, then there's no question you will need interceding for, never mind interceding for someone else. So can you imagine if you're in need of intercession, how are you going to intercede for someone else? Yeah. So become someone who can intercede for them, then there's a chance that you can intercede for them. But if you don't become that person, no chance. Do you see that dua is also an intercession? We ask Allah, oh Allah, please forgive this person. We send reward and so on. Now what reward is there to send if Allah has not accepted it? It's not my reward to send. It's Allah's to accept or reject. Then Allah sends it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends it, not me and you. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decision. If you think I have reward to send, I'm sorry, but with that mentality, there's nothing to send. With that mentality, because you think your good deed is yours. The truth is, the good deed is Allah's. You have to have this belief. So the simple answer is that yes, they can. The person needs to die with Iman, and the child and the person needs to become of a level that they can intercede. They may not even know it until the hereafter, but their du'as may be accepted, their good deeds that they send if Allah accepts them, can be an intercession. So what they should strive to do is be the living paradise on this world, the person of paradise on this world. Then their intercession will be something. It is mentioned in the books of the mashayikh of the past, even whilst living in this world, mashayikh living in this world, one of them is, the book is the Sufi Sage of Arabia, and Imam Abdullah al-Haddad rahimahullah, 300, 400 years ago, lived in Yemen. He interceded. It's mentioned, his students mentioned in their dreams they saw that he, whilst living physically, he interceded for people who've passed away. So he hasn't even passed away himself, he's interceding for people. So the students, they mentioned that we saw this in our dream, we saw this and so on. But what would he say if you asked him? He wouldn't say, yes, I've interceded. He would only say, such and such a person has seen that, alhamdulillah, Allah is the decider. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes that decision. It's not for me to decide. If you've seen that, then that's good and well, that's a good sign. But Allah, like Allah says in the Holy Quran, who can intercede with him without his permission? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the real interceder. So, yes, inshallah. So, any one last question, otherwise we finish. Okay, then. Jazakallah. May Allah reward all of you, accept, and please forgive me for any shortcomings, misunderstanding.